Alright, what we have here, we have a 1999 Chevrolet Prizm. It's got the 1.8 liter 16 valve Toyota engine in it. They did these engines, the Toyota engines, and these Chevrolet Prizms from 1998 to, I believe it was 2000. What I had here is I had a power steering pump. I had a loud grinding when I was turning. I figured either it was low fluid or maybe something happened to the pump. So I checked the fluid. Of course, fluid was good. And I was like, all right, next thing's the pump. Well, when I was looking at the pump there to try and switch it out, and I saw the, hold on one second here. You can see right down in there, there's the top of the pump right there. So when I was looking, I noticed that the nut in the center of the pulley was a little bit loose, and I kind of jumped in and I tested out the steering there, and I watched that pulley nut right down in there. Now what happened was that nut somehow became a little bit loose and the pulley was just free spinning on the shaft there for the power steering pump, and so it was shot. Well, I figured I would just pull out the whole pump. I figured maybe the pump was bad, or maybe the shaft for the pump went bad. So I yanked it out, took a look at it. Well, it turns out it wasn't the pump that was bad. It was the pulley that was free spinning on there. It became loose somehow. So here's the pulley right here. You can see the inside here. You can see there you got a little bit of splines in there, but it pretty much just ground out some of those splines. And so I had a couple options. My first option, I figured maybe I'd just try to find a new pulley. Well, it called the GM dealerships. They said that they no longer manufacture the pulley, and that I would have to, basically just get lucky and find one somewhere. I believe they might make some aftermarket ones, but they were all over $100. I didn't want to use my old pump, just in case the shaft had gotten bent somehow from that pulley flapping around on there. So I was looking at possibly a $240 repair, with a new pump being $120, and then a new pulley potentially being, another $110, $120. Here is the new pump. I did purchase this before I got my old one out. I didn't end up needing it, and I'll pull this out here to kind of show you guys what I found out. So here you have the pump, and so the pulley would go on the pump shaft here, but it was free spinning, and you could see where the nut was staying still on there. It wasn't catching the shaft at all. And even with those splines on there, the splines weren't matching up and they weren't holding. So what I ended up doing is I went to a junkyard. I got lucky and I found a 2000 Chevy Prizm, same engine. Got the power steering pump from that, $23. I just got real lucky on there. So I swapped that out and just put it in. So that saved me, probably over $200. Anyway, the easiest way to get this power steering pump out is go ahead and jack up your car and take off the right front wheel. What that will do, let me get my flashlight here. That will give you access to kind of get up in here to where the steering pump is. Alright, first things first, after you get this jacked up, you'll have to pull off this little shroud here. I got it bent back, but it's just the shroud that covers down, and goes and mounts right up here again. It's nice. I definitely recommend taking the front tire off, because you can kind of get in at a couple of different angles here once that thing's out of the way, and it will make your repair much easier. First thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and you see that that bolt right there. That's for the tensioner arm. You loosen that up, and then this one right here, right there, you go ahead and put a wrench on there, and of course you're going to want to pull towards the front of the car. What that'll do is that'll loosen up this tensioner pulley here, and then you can slide the belt off like that, and then just take the belt off the water pump. I didn't take the belt all the way off the other alternator and stuff. You don't need to do that. you can just kind of tuck it out of the way. Next, like I said, it's easier to reach this underneath the car, but you can see here, seeing that first little hole right there, there's a nut right in there, and then again right up top there's another nut. Now depending on your pulley, you may be able to get a socket in there right through the hole, kind of a deep well, but additionally you may have to, you know, if you can't get it in there, you may have to go behind here and just slip a wrench on this end. And that's all it is that holds those on, those two bolts that go right through. And then once you get those here, we're going to kind of flip the camera like this so you can kind of see right in the back side there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's the bolts, the bolt heads right there. They kind of come through. So you just take those nuts off, and those bolts will slip right out. And you may have to go ahead and get a I had to use a chunk of a wooden dowel and a hammer, and I put it underneath the pump here, and I tapped lightly down here, and then I would also come in from the top here. Of course I moved this connector here, and then I would tap down right there, and I dislodged that thing. Now the first time when I was taking it out, I disconnected this first hose here, and then I pulled the whole thing up top, and then I used a 7/8 inch socket on that bolt right there. Used a 7/8 inch socket to get that off, and that pulled off the power steering line there. This one was kind of a bear. It's the best idea to just take that clamp off if you can reach it. That'll make your life a lot easier. But the bolts and nuts that go through to hold the power steering pump on, they're 14 millimeters. And like I said, that one bolt to get off of there was a 7/8 inch socket. So that'll help you out there a little bit. Of course, once you get the power steering pump back on, and you get it, you get all the lines hooked up, you can just open up this cap here, and then you know, fill up to on the side. You'll see here it's the max cold line. Leave the cap off and turn on the key. Don't start the engine, turn the key, and then just have somebody, you can do it yourself, you can, with the hood open, you can look through there, you can watch the level on this side. We just go ahead and turn the wheel left to right, and just keeping an eye on this, make sure that it doesn't drop below the cold low line, because you don't want to get air back in there. You can just turn it back and forth, keep turning it back and forth, keep adding fluid as needed, and then once it's not really moving anymore, go ahead and start the car up. Again, you can still leave it jacked up to do this. It's a lot easier to turn that way. Go ahead and start the car up, and then again turn it all the way back, you know, to the right and to the left, and keep doing that. I mean, you got to do it quite a few times to make sure you get all the air out, and then eventually turn the car off, and then go ahead and top up your fluid there to the max cold line again. It'll take care of that. But hopefully this video helps some of you out. I was looking around trying to figure out my issue here, and I couldn't find anything. The only thing I was seeing is that, you know, you could find all these other pulleys for these other different pumps, and it wasn't the correct one that I needed. So hopefully this can save you a little bit of money. Again, your best bet, hopefully you can find maybe a junkyard to pull one off of. If you absolutely need to go this route, again, if you find a cheaper pulley, go ahead and let me know. But you know, I mean, it looks like you might be in for 120 bucks for the power steering pump, and then additional however much you can find that pulley for. But like I said, the cheapest one I could find was above $100. So hopefully that'll help you out. But all right, thank you guys for your time. Have a good day.